It was almost midnight when I finally left the diner. Rain had just started to fall light at first, but then it came down steady, whispering against my windshield. I was driving cross-state for a work thing, just me and the open highway. The road was a straight shot, cutting through miles of dark farmland and forest. All I had for company was the static on the radio and the low hum of my engine. I was about halfway to my destination when my GPS glitched. It just froze for a second, then completely rerouted me down some smaller road. A message I'd never seen before flashed on the screen. Alternate route activated, avoiding obstruction. I didn't think much of it at the time. An accident? Maybe some construction. So I just followed the new route, a narrow, cracked road lined with these tall, imposing trees that seemed to lean in over the car. A few minutes later, I realized something was off. The radio had gone completely silent. Not static, not a dead station, just nothing. Pure, dead silence. Then, my headlights flickered once, then again, and in that split second of darkness, I swear I saw something in the road up ahead. A shape, just standing there, perfectly still. I slammed on the brakes, my heart hammering against my ribs. When the car skidded to a stop, the road was empty. I took a deep breath and let out a shaky laugh. Too much caffeine, I muttered to myself, trying to calm down. But then, I glanced in my rearview mirror. The shape was there, standing right behind my car. I whipped around, grabbing the flashlight from the glove box, and shined it through the back window. There was nothing, just rain and trees. Absolutely no one there. But when I looked back at the GPS, my route had changed again. The screen now read, entering Graybrook Township. I'd never heard of it, but the map showed a small cluster of streets just a few miles away. Figuring it was some forgotten little town, I kept driving. A few minutes later, I saw the first houses. They were just dark, lifeless silhouettes against the stormy sky. No porch lights on, no cars in the driveways. I couldn't even see the soft orange glow you'd expect from a street lamp. The whole town was plunged in darkness. I slowed down, rolling my window down halfway. The rain had stopped, but what replaced it was even more unsettling. There was no sound, not a single insect, no wind rustling through the trees, no low hum of power lines. Just an oppressive, heavy silence. I stopped at an intersection and looked around. A diner, a gas station, a church hall, dark and abandoned looking. Even the traffic lights were dead. And that's when I saw them. People standing in the middle of the street. They weren't moving at all, not even shifting their weight. They were just standing there, evenly spaced out, all facing different directions. My headlights washed over the person nearest to me, a man dressed in a mechanic's uniform. His eyes were wide open. His mouth was slightly parted. Rainwater was running down his face, but he didn't blink. Not once. I honked the horn, a loud, desperate blast. Nothing. He didn't even flinch. My heart was racing. I threw the car into reverse. And that's when every single person on that street turned in perfect, chilling unison to look directly at me. Their heads didn't tilt or twitch. They just moved smoothly and simultaneously, like they were all connected. I floored it, tearing down the street. My hands were shaking so badly I almost missed a turn. The GPS was still showing my route, but the map looked wrong now. The roads were twisting and looping, almost like they were trying to lead me back to where I came from. And then, at the top of the screen, a small red banner started blinking. Signal lost. I didn't care. I just kept driving. Then, from the corner of my eye, I saw movement. Someone was running alongside the car. I turned my head, and my blood ran cold. It was one of them. A woman in a long white nightgown, her bare feet slapping against the wet pavement. She was matching my speed perfectly, 45, maybe 50 miles an hour. Her face was pale, her eyes wide and terrified, her mouth open in a silent scream. And just as suddenly as she appeared, she vanished back into the darkness. I pressed harder on the gas, desperate to find an escape. Then the headlights flickered again for that half-second of darkness. The road ahead was filled with people. Hundreds of them, standing shoulder to shoulder, completely blocking my path. When the lights came back on, the road was empty again. I was shaking uncontrollably, whispering to myself, just drive, over and over like a mantra. Up ahead, the gas station appeared again, but this time, something was different. The neon sign was on. The word "open" flickered weakly, a single spot of red against the suffocating dark. I pulled in, hoping for help, for an explanation. The store's lights were dim, probably running on an emergency generator humming somewhere in the back. And there, behind the counter, was a man. He was old and wiry, with eyes that looked sunken and tired. When he saw me stumble in, he just shook his head slowly. "You shouldn't have stopped," he said. I asked him what was going on, if the power was out everywhere. He didn't answer my question. Instead, he leaned forward, his voice a low whisper, like he was afraid of being overheard. "They don't move until you see them." Before I could even ask what that meant, the lights flickered once, twice, and then went out completely, plunging us into total darkness. In the black, I heard the faint, slow creak of the front door opening. Then footsteps. Slow, wet, deliberate footsteps, getting closer. I fumbled for my phone and turned on the flashlight. The old man was gone. The counter was empty. I ran outside, my fingers clumsy as I fumbled for my keys. The rain had started again, coming down hard this time, soaking through my shirt in seconds. And there, standing in the middle of the road, was the same mechanic I'd seen before. Only this time, he was smiling. A wide, unnatural grin. Behind him, the others had returned a dozen, maybe more, just standing there watching me. And every time the lightning flashed across the sky, they were closer. I jumped in the car, slammed the door, and hit the gas. The headlights cut through the rain and fogged, and I realized I wasn't on a road anymore. It was dirt, mud. The trees on either side were closing in fast. The GPS flickered back to life for just a moment. The screen showed no map, just a single, stark message, leaving Graybrook Township. Then it went dark for good. When I finally hit the main highway, I didn't stop. I just drove until the sun came up. The next day, I went to the police and told a state trooper what happened. He just looked at me, confused, and said there was no Graybrook Township anywhere in the county. He said there never had been. But then I showed him the footage from my dashcam. He watched it in silence, his expression growing more and more unsettled. Halfway through, he paused the video. "You said you were alone?" he asked. "Yeah," I told him. He pointed to the screen at the reflection in my windshield. In the faint light from the dashboard, you could just make out a figure. Someone was sitting in my passenger seat. I never take that route anymore. But sometimes, when I'm driving late at night, I still check the GPS, just to be sure. Just to make sure it doesn't try to reroute me again. And every once in a while, I'll see it a small, faint gray line blinking on the edge of the map. Alternate route, Graybrook Township. Thanks for watching, everyone. This one definitely still gives me chills. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video.